You're missing out if you haven't seen this. Bill Maher's panel last week almost got heated when Joe Scarborough made one of the dumbest claims about Donald Trump. And you know what? Even Mark Cuban sitting beside him started sounding more reasonable in comparison. I think you need to see this for yourself because this conversation had so many jumping boards to tell you how it fits in a larger context with this election.
You know what makes our economy, what sustains our economy? The rule of law. And that's what I believe is at stake at this election. We want a fair and equitable approach to the rule of law. The great thing about America is an idiot makes a decision like that based on politics instead of based on what their job is. You can take it to the courts. The courts will overturn it.
There's no misinformation.
There's some disinformation from the left, but comparing it to what Donald Trump spews out every day, every week, comparing it to what Elon Musk is spewing out, unfortunately, on X, you sound like Brett Stevens now, with all due respect. It's a joke. That's a real time.
And you sound like him, who looks like Rachel Maddow. Or is Rachel Maddow?
You understand what I'm saying?
I've never argued with that. I've never argued that of the false equivalency. I just said there is misinformation from both sides. Well, I lived through COVID. Don't tell me there wasn't misinformation.
Honestly, were you expecting any better from Joe Scarborough? Over the last few months and more broadly over several years, he's been one in a list of Democrat talking heads doomsaying about a potential next Trump victory as the last election America would see. He's one of those far leftists that make no bones about comparing Donald Trump to the German dictator, even in the aftermath of the 2 assassination attempts against him that were indirectly a result of that rhetoric. Here's what Joe Scarborough said not too long ago. Quote, "This is not a reach. I can go back and talk about Germany, and I do it without any concerns whatsoever, and if people can't start drawing the parallels, well, you're just stupid, or you have your head in the sand, or you're one of them." Yes, this is the guy you just saw coming after Bill Maher talking about rhetoric and rule of law, and to his credit, as liberal as Bill Maher may be, he's not so easily swayed by people too far on his political side trying to pull him to the radical left. By the way, subscribe and hit that notification bell for more discussions just like this. I think while that's true for Donald Trump, it's even more true when you're speaking about someone like Elon Musk.
The guy who I think epitomizes the good, the bad, everything in between, and just it's sort of a microcosm of America, is Elon Musk. Because this week, he had an amazing week. He caught, this is from Politico, he pulled off an engineering marvel where he launched the largest, most powerful rocket in the world, and on the first try, caught the 23-story tall booster that brings it up in midair with using chopstick-like mechanical arms. We made a little video called Elon Musk's Week that encapsulates this. Would you show it? It'll just take a few seconds. Look at that.
That's insane.
Look at that. Isn't that amazing? And then
this. That's insane too.
And then
that's just as insane.
Same guy. That's my point. That's my point.
Yeah.
Is that that's the same guy. This is such a game changer with exploring the stars with the rocket. But he also, I mean, the tweets. I mean, FEMA used its budget ferrying illegals into the country instead of saving American lives. Treason. That's the same guy. He also said, tweeted, Mark Cuban and Rachel Maddow are the same person. Don't believe.
That is going to stick with Mark Cuban for a while because Elon Musk has become notorious for making his opponents a subject of comedy and trolling like this on X. Listen to Elon enjoy poking fun at someone like Mark, who he's had plenty of heated exchanges with online.
I saw an interview with Mark Cuban and, what's her name again? Rachel Maddow. But I couldn't tell which was which.
Elon Musk, especially after his full-throttle endorsement of Donald Trump 3 months ago, has become a more outwardly political figure than he used to be. If you go back a few years, his statements on Twitter at the time or opinions on things like climate change or the gender wars solidly pit him on one side of the political spectrum for many in mainstream television, and it's partly why many of his achievements would be somewhat overshadowed by his outspoken political persona. But as much as the politics may obscure it, Bill Maher wasn't having it with the clamping down on free speech coming from a segment of the Democrats.
This is a guy who's one of the great minds of our time.
Right.
And I hate that he's in the sewer with you know, Twitter. and doing all of this stuff. Support whoever you want to support, but again,
but you don't have to lie your ass off.
There's so much disinformation that's being spread.
Here's where the rubber meets the road, because this is important. He wanted to this week. He's suing the 12-member commission, the California Coastal Commission. He launches his rockets from Vandenberg Space Force Base. We used to call it Air Force Base, but I guess now we're into Space Force time. He wanted the proposal to expand the number of launches. Okay, again, one of the most impressive companies, an American company. He wants a little more, give it to him. No. The commission, some bureaucrat, said, nope, and this is the reason why. Commissioner Carol Hart saying, we're dealing with a company, the head of which has aggressively injected himself into the presidential race and made it clear what his point of view is. Yes, because he lives in America, and he can do that. Yeah. It has nothing to do with this, and, the right thinks that the left is in a very different place with free speech than they have been before, and they're not wrong.
Could you imagine this discussion taking place 2 decades ago? No wonder Bill Maher is getting more disillusioned with the modern Democratic Party and the left-wing media establishment. The people most supposed to stand up to the principle of progressivism and free speech have solidly abandoned it for political convenience. Over the last decade, much of Silicon Valley and big tech has revealed that it's not free of biases either, because they're nestled in the same broader culture that the legacy media is part of as well. In that sense, Musk's acquisition of Twitter is at worst just the other side of the coin for that political partisanship in big tech. As for Donald Trump, Bill Maher isn't as willing to give that political leeway, and that's expected. In fact, perhaps that lends more weight to him with the independent middle and even the center-right crowd, because he's still not seen as someone so far gone on the left that he's not worth listening to. But that's why he's been seen slammed by both the far right and the far left in the country, which is actually a sweet spot to be in, the media, if you think about it. The same can't be said for Mark Cuban, though, as he's moved further left in the last decade, despite first being somewhat supportive of a candidate like Trump, at least shaking up the political scene. Here's a clip of him talking about a decade ago making all the wrong predictions for Donald Trump and America.
I want to see the political system change. Period. End of story. He's not going to win. He's got no chance. But someone who is an
No chance. He's leading.
I told him that, right?
Really? You think he has no chance?
None. But as an imperfect candidate being the leader right now, he opens the door for other imperfect candidates, because up until now,
that's what we want.
And that should tell you there's really nothing you can definitively predict with someone like Donald Trump. Perhaps you can say the same thing now that he's cheerleading a Kamala Harris presidency and making appearances on the campaign trail, but let me know in the comments what you think and share this across your socials, because people need to know exactly where these legacy media figures stand before and after the election.